When you're trying to learn something new and difficult, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You look at the pile of pieces and can't decide where to start. Do you want to learn all the theory of how puzzles work, or will you just start putting those pieces together, learning everything along the way? In this video, I'll show you that you can have fun learning Apache Kafka because you have chosen the right tool for that, Kafka Magic. You don't have to know much about Kafka cluster to be able to connect to it with Kafka Magic. Just the network address and authentication keys for the cluster and for the schema registry. If you don't know these parameters, you'll need to ask your system administrator. Here I've started a Kafka Magic instance. Let's create a new connection to my Kafka cluster. First, the cluster name. Any name for the connection will do. It just allows you to select your cluster in the Cluster Explorer. I want to name my cluster Local because I use a local instance of Kafka cluster. In the Bootstrap Servers field, I will enter the cluster network address. The host name is Kafka. The port number is 9092. Now, let's expand the security section. This is the place where you can enter cluster authentication keys. In my case, I don't need this because my test cluster doesn't require authentication. Now this schema registry. Confluent Schema Registry is completely separate from the Kafka cluster. It acts as a standalone website responsible for schema management. In my case, the network address is Kafka, port 8081. Again, my instance of Schema Registry doesn't require authentication. There is a third parameter in this section, Auto-Register Schemas flag. We will get to it later. For now, let's leave it as false. This is it. I am clicking the Verify button to make sure the connection works. Everything is green. Let's register the connection in the Kafka Magic configuration store. Now we are ready to play with Kafka Topics. Kafka Topic is a place where messages are stored, like a file or a mailbox. You can send messages to a topic. You can read messages from a topic. To see all the topics in a cluster, we expand the cluster and then the topics nodes in the Cluster Explorer. Here we see the list of all topics created in the cluster. A topic can have multiple partitions, though at this point it's not important. We'll get to those details later. First, let's create a new topic. I navigate to the Create Topic page, enter the name Test Topic, and click Create Topic button. We can see our new topic in the list. Now, let's see how Kafka Topics work. Let's try sending a message to a topic. There is a topic named Test Topic. I click on it, then I click the Publish Message button. You need to enter the message in JSON format, but don't worry, the editor will help you to avoid mistakes. Let's try a simple message with field 1 saying My Message 1. I click the Published button. Success. Let's publish more messages. We can do that in one operation by using an array. Don't forget to check the Array as Multiple Messages checkbox. Now, we need to know how to read the messages. I click on the Search Topic button, and here is the search page. All I need to do is to click Run Search button. In the results pane, we see 5 messages. Let's take a look at the last one. Here it is, My Message 5. Now, how could we see the last message if there were many more messages in the topic? For example, 1,000,000. We don't want to read them all. If we know that our message is close to the end of the topic, we can use the Search Backward checkbox. Let's try that. Now our last message is right at the top of the list. But what if we don't know where in the topic our message could be? Kafka Magic has a feature for that too. This is a search page, remember, so there must be a way to do search. I click on the checkbox saying, Use JavaScript to find messages in the topic. Now we can see the JavaScript editor, allowing us to enter a search query. The rule is simple: return true for messages you want to select. For all other messages, return false. Let's try this. We are looking for a message where the field named field1 has a string value myMessage5. I remove everything from the editor and type the query. I start with the context object that holds all information about the message we retrieve from the topic. Note the IntelliSense helping me to type the right names. This is it. Now Kafka Magic will return only those messages where field1 equals myMessage5. I click the Run Search button, and now the search returns only one message. Simple. Now, let's try a more complicated subject. Kafka topic defines a data stream. The data goes from producer to consumer as a sequence of bytes. Schema helps consumer to decipher this sequence, to convert it into a message having a predefined format. Let's see how that works. I'm going to take a look at a message from the topic NYC yellow taxi trip data. I know that messages in this topic were written using a schema, but at first, let's see what we will get if we try reading messages without a schema. I click on the topic name and then uncheck the Use Schema checkbox. I click Run Search. Here are the results. We can see there is a message, but it's really hard to understand what it means. Let's try reading messages using the schema. This time, the message is perfectly readable. The schema has explained to the consumer how to properly read the message. Now, we'll take a look at the schema itself. I expand the Schemas node in the Cluster Explorer and find the schema, NYC yellow taxi trip data value. As you can see, the schema has some declarations at the top and a list of field definitions after that. Each field is defined by a name, type, and possibly some description. Consumer uses this information to interpret sequence of bytes it receives from the topic. Schemas are stored in the schema registry. If you remember, we have added the network address of the schema registry when we configured connection to our Kafka cluster. Each schema can be found in the registry by its ID or by subject. Schema also has a version number assigned. We'll discuss the details of the schema management in another Kafka Magic tutorial. Kafka Magic has a lot of powerful features. It can find, display, and publish messages, transform and move messages between topics, manage schemas and topics, automate complex tasks, all via convenient user interface. See more Kafka Magic videos in this channel, or better yet, download Kafka Magic app and discover all the features it can offer.